Okay, so good afternoon, YouTubers. Right now, it's around almost 12 o'clock, and this is around the time that I really start prepping my food. So I promised I was going to do a cooking video, so I'm going to attempt to do one today. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to be able to combine all the segments into one. I do have an app on my phone that I'm going to try to use to patch them all together. If not, I'm going to have to do my prepping and my actual cooking and finishing and dessert all in separate segments. So it's going to be a lot of videos if it does not fall through for me and come all together. Either way, so today I wanted to go ahead and do a cooking video for my dinner tonight. Now remember, I do not eat after 4 o'clock, so I start my prepping either early in the morning around breakfast time, or if I did not get the meat out the previous day before, I take my meat out, I let it thaw out, and then I start my prepping around this time, which is a little bit before noon. So tonight for dinner, I plan on cooking baked lemon salmon, a fresh salad with asparagus, and for dessert, I planned on go ahead and baking oatmeal chocolate chip cookies with a homemade chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream. And everything that I'm using is going to be under a certain amount of calories, and of course I supplement my meals for breakfast and lunch, and then all I eat is dinner, and that of course is before 4 p.m. So I'm allowed a little bit of room as far as my calorie count is concerned, but I don't do fatty foods. So the first part of the prepping, I already marinated my salmon, and of course I marinated that in olive oil, lemon juice. I seasoned the salmon beforehand with a little bit of salt, a pinch, pepper, and don't be afraid of the heat, red pepper flakes. Okay, so I marinated that. I used about a tablespoon of olive oil. I mixed it with a little bit, about a half a tablespoon of balsamic vinaigrette salad dressing. I have that in the fridge, so I'll show you guys that later. And a little bit of salt and pepper. And so that's my prepping stage of it. And then I let it sit in the Ziploc bag for in the refrigerator for about an hour or two. But see, I'm a little different. I don't like to follow rules, and I like to actually stuff my salmon with some fresh ingredients. So today I'm going to go ahead and stuff it with a little bit of oregano, about a teaspoon, and I'm going to get that all around, and then the same amount, I'll say 2 teaspoons of oregano and 2 teaspoons of basil. And this is a pretty big salmon, but I'm actually only eating half of this, and my husband is going to eat the other half. So right now, because I like my skin on my salmon crispy, and I know a lot of people would just use let's say for instance the olive oil and to try to get that crispy, but I like it and my husband likes it extra crispy. So right now I'm going to go ahead and show you the process of stuffing my salmon. I take it out, and you see that's a really good amount of salmon. And then I'm going to go ahead and get my sharpest and largest knife. And I'm going ahead and go under the skin around this area, but I'm going to be on the other side, but I'm just trying to show you guys. I just thinly slice it under the skin. If you get a little bit of the meat and you slice a little bit, it doesn't really matter. Your focus is getting as much of the skin up as possible. And I don't want to go all the way across. I just want to go and get like a good depth in there. And then I take, and I use light margarine butter because it has less calories. It's like, no hydrogenated oil and zero trans fat. I got the light kind. That's what I like to use. It works just as good as butter, and I just take that butter And if you don't like to get messy, you know, I completely understand, but I'm a messy type of girl, so I like to get in there and get my butter all in there. And then what I'll do is just lay this on some foil. I'll wrap it in some foil, and then, so that's about, you know, 2 or 3 teaspoons of the stuff. I like to wrap it up in some foil, and I like to let the butter marinate in there for about another hour. You can do it longer. It just kind of firms it. So then I'm taking basil and I'm just eyeing it for about 2 teaspoons. And then the same with the oregano. I measure so much stuff in the past, like when I'm baking and stuff, that I pretty much got a good idea on how much a tablespoon and a teaspoon and, you know, all that good stuff is. And then also I'm going to go ahead and do something a little bit different and crush some garlic in there also. See? Okay. So then what I'll do is I'll take some garlic and I'll crush that up. Take a paper towel and wipe my hands and get another cutting board. You never want to cook anything on the same thing you cook with your meat. If you can, you just will have to wash that off if you don't have another cutting board. Just wash it off really good. You don't want any of those bacteria to get in there. So, and I usually have like you know how they have on Food Network, they had a really good idea with the dumping bowls. And you kind of just put all your stuff and remaining stuff that you have, so you don't really have to walk away from your station. You cut that little end piece off the garlic, and then you know, just get it really chopped and fine. And that's only 1 clove of garlic that I'm using. You don't ever want, you know, especially with seafood, you don't want it that strong. It doesn't really need it. You want that fresh taste anyway. So then I'm going to take the garlic and I'm going to put that in there. Make sure I get that evenly around. You know, mush it in there with the butter. I mean, the best thing to have done was to mix the margarine and the garlic together with the basil and the oregano all together in a bowl, and then, you know, kind of get it in there. But I just kind of wanted to show you guys the steps today. Okay, so then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and wrap this in aluminum foil, and then I'll put it back in the refrigerator for about another hour. But I'm going to keep mine in there longer. And if you want, what you can do is take like a half a tablespoon of butter, and you can go ahead and pat that, not a tablespoon, a teaspoon of butter, and pat that across the top where the skin part is. And then you could let that sit up there so your skin can be extra crispy, although it's going to be really crispy. But I like the butter under the skin also because of the fact that it leaves it nice and soft and flaky and just delicious. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this in butter. I mean, not wrap this in butter, put it in some foil. And as you can see, this juice that's left over in the aluminum foil and a Ziploc bag, I'm going to actually use that when I actually, when I do my asparagus. And I'm going to, you know, use that as a type of sauce for the top of the salmon and for the asparagus. So it's going to be really good. So I'll be back with part 2 when I'm actually cooking. Okay.